So just in general, you might want to go back and watch this so you can kind of look up and find some more information. Everybody know what trichotillomania is? Okay. I think you're going to be a small group today, so I'm just going to talk. As long as you can hear me, we're good. If you have any questions, then I'll go to the questions shortly. So trichotillomania, that is where we pull our hair. So it is an anxiety disorder. And any of those things that are anxiety disorder, we treat them with, of course, our anti-anxiety. You can't have an anti-anxiety that we take on a regular basis because that would be my benzodiazepines, my Valium, my Xanax. They are definitely addictive. So most often we're going to use a Zoloft. Zoloft is an SSRI. That's one of my serotonin selective reuptake inhibitors. Depression, and anxiety look exactly the same in my body. So hoarding, excoriation, which is that picking of your skin, trichotillomania, which is pulling your hair, sometimes your eyebrows, what else? OCD. All of those are actually just forms of anxiety. So when you see those things on the test, you'll know those are just anxiety disorders, and those are treated with an anti-anxiety medication. PRN would be a benzodiazepine, Valium, Xanax. On a daily basis, you would end up using something like my Zoloft. And Zoloft is just a medication of choice when it comes to those issues. Okay. So enuresis and copresis, they're both diagnosed by the age of 5. Enuresis is when I pee on myself, and copresis is when I poop on myself. It doesn't have to be bedwetting. It can be during the day. So those were kids who, again, haven't either have regressed, have had some training and they've regressed, or they have not been fully potty trained. Remember, we're also not really worried about potty training until they're about the age of 4. So because enuresis is diagnosed at 5. So if the question talks about a dad who is worried that his child is not potty trained or anything by the age of 2, that normal human behavior says that they don't have to be potty trained yet. We all know that in many cultures, especially mine, by the time you're 2, most people think you should be potty trained. And that is actually not the case for the test, at least. Okay? So enuresis, encopresis, trichotillomania. OCD, I talked about. Hello? Feel free just to ask me a question. And if you can't hear me, you're going to have to say something because I really don't think I have a chat box when it comes to my iPad. I'm looking. Oh, wait, I do. There we go. I do a chat box. There we go. Okay. So I did open the chat box there, so that way if you have a question, you can actually put it in the chat box. Okay. So as I was saying, I was talking about just the importance of enuresis, some of the important diagnoses, some of the major ones. Okay. So then, as we look at, enuresis, encopresis. I always do bipolar 1, bipolar 2. You guys should know that by now. Bipolar 1 that's the one with 5 full-blown days of a manic attack. 5 days of not being able to sleep, not wanting to sleep. You think you are on top of the world, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is the best feeling ever. It can be greater than 5 days, but it has to be at least a minimum of 5 days. After 5 days, many times just without sleep, people are put in the hospital. And I won't tell anybody that I ever actually watched this show, but if you've ever seen Shameless on Showtime, or I think it's on Netflix now, it's the best example of, one of the better examples I've seen of what mania looks like, and the son gets it, so it's passed down. But it really is. A mom comes home and she's going to redecorate the kitchen, and she, puts holes in the walls, and then she can't get out of bed for 4 or 5 days. So you do have to meet the criteria for depression, which is 2 weeks of that depressive symptoms, and then you're going to have that full-blown manic attack for at least 5 days. The bipolar 2 has that mania, hypomania, which is lower. Remember, hyper is higher and hypo is lower. So hypomaniac is that what you're going to have when you're looking at that diagnosis. They're both treated with lithium. Lithium does create a toxicity in my system. The lithium batteries we use, that's the lithium. Okay, so if you see I haven't seen it yet, but in truth, we don't use lithium anymore. We're really using some of those anti-seizure medications, the Tegretol and often. But yeah, that's those lithium batteries, and you're putting it in your system. Some people can die of a lithium overdose. So it has to meet the criteria for depression, which again is 2 full weeks of not being able to get out of bed, not being able to move, not wanting to shower or eating, all those full things. Depression most of the time is much more than 2 weeks. However, it won't meet the full criteria for a persistent depressive disorder until it's at least 2 years. 2 years in adults and 1 year in children under 18. Okay, so I'm going to do some questions, guys, and we'll talk about some more of those diagnoses. So really, feel free if you have any questions, please just unmute yourself and chime in. Okay. You know, guys, I really like it when you participate. I promise you, I tutor other groups, my NHCME people, my social workers. They all talk more than my counselors. Chime in. Okay, so here, I'm going to share my screen. I'm new at this one, guys. Bear with me. Okay, share screen. Hold on here. Well, it's not sharing. Thank you for being patient with me. I have to find out where it is. That's why. Okay. Okay. So then, 1 second. I'm going to do something else, and I'm just going to keep talking while I pull that up. Okay. So then, when it comes to my other ones, I'm looking at, let's see, so schizo brief psychotic disorder. You can tell me what that one is, that brief one. My brief psychotic disorder is when I have the hallucinations and the delusions for 3 days to 30 days. Okay, so we really are hoping it doesn't end up in a full-blown manic episode. That's really what we're hoping for. Unfortunately, many times it does, but our goal is that it won't end up in that full-blown manic episode. So, full-blown schizophrenic episode. I apologize. So, schizophrenia, hallucinations and delusions. Remember, I can hallucinate with all 5 of my senses can experience in hallucinations. Okay. So after that brief psychotic disorder, then it actually goes into schizophrenic form, which is a form of schizophrenia. So that is from 30 days to 6 months. After 6 months, then it turns into full-blown schizophrenia. All of those I'm going to treat with a tardive dyskinesia. I'm going to treat with an antipsychotic. Okay, so my antipsychotic then can also cause me to doesn't want to see me share my desktop.